Hi there and welcome back. It's Sandy here and happy Stamptember. Tonight's collab is Altenew and the beautiful Rose Reverie. I am making a messy watercolor card for you tonight. I'm going to start by black heat embossing the image onto a piece of watercolor paper. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so the same size as an A2 card, using my Versamark ink, of course. And the reason I like to do the embossing is it creates a kind of a little bridge around each of the pieces that I want to watercolor. And in most cases, it's going to hold in the color for me so it doesn't bleed onto another petal. And that allows me to work a little bit faster, adding color and everything to it. And I am just finishing up with my embossing, getting my heat tool out, and we're going to heat set this. I'm playing with my Gansai Tambi watercolors today. In particular, the colors I'm going to use are 51, 54, 57, 139, and I'm going to use a black. And I've got a well, I've got some clean water, and I have got my embossed piece on a piece of paper towel so I can wipe off anything I need to. And the first thing I'm going to do is loosen up some of this paint, and I'm going to transfer it into the well so that I can dilute it a little bit and use that to do my watercoloring. And so you want to get a little bit of each into each of the different wells so that you have some to work with. You don't have to stop and mix a bunch of colors. And it's making this a little bit more watered down, which is also helping me move it around without having a great big stain everywhere I touch it. I'm going to do the wet on wet technique today. And I am by no means a watercolor expert, just so you know that right up front. But I do love to get these out and just play with them. So this is me playing today. Okay, once you've moved enough paint into the wells, you want to add some fresh water to it, which is what I'm doing right now. And this helps to dilute it, and it makes it a lot easier to work with once it hits the watercolor paper. Changing over to a clean brush. And what I'm going to do is, as I said, this is the wet on wet technique. So I am wetting down a couple of petals, and that's where I'm going to start loading my colors. So picking up that blue and starting in the center, near the center of the flower. That's where you'll have the heaviest shadow or color, and then pulling it out from there, and it will lighten as you pull it out. And you're just kind of letting it run into the water, which is kind of cool. It gives just a really nice watercolor effect. And if you find any little white spots, you want to fill those in. Usually those show up right up against the edge of the embossing. Now I'm going to take a tiny little bit of purple, and I'm just going to drop it in there, and I'm going to let it run. And it will blend in with the blue and just cause a shadow, which is really kind of cool. That's what I like about the wet on wet technique. You let the water do the work for you. Okay, so I'm going to move up to the other flower and let the first one dry out a little bit. So repeating the steps, starting with a wet petal, adding the blue to the center, and then working it out. I have a little bit more water on this one, I think, because it's coming in a little bit lighter, so I'm adding more blue to it. And getting rid of any little white spots again. Okay, and then I'm going to add my purple and let it run. Isn't that cool? And if it doesn't run, add a little bit of water, or you can pick it up, add water to the petal, and then drop it in again. If you find you have way too much, just touch it with a paper towel and it will wick up almost everything, and you can start over again. So back to the first flower, and I'm adding some clean water in there, getting all those petals wet, and then dumping the blue, letting it run and helping it move around. And you will remember with watercolors that they always dry lighter than what they look like when they're wet. So there's a little bit of patience required here, something I'm short on most days, where you want to let it dry before you start adding a whole pile more color to it to see if you are really going to like it. And again, I'm adding some more purple. And we're just going to continue. Putting my blue in. And I'm working with, I think, number 2 and number 4 brushes. I have a kind of a medium and a small, one for getting in really tight areas and the other for bigger spaces. And I find that they have kind of the right amount of pickup for doing these size of petals. If I was doing a smaller flower, I would go with a much smaller brush so that I wasn't putting too much pigment into each of the petals. And that's something that you just get used to. You know, kind of try a few different size brushes and see which ones you're comfortable with. Okay, there we are so far. I'm kind of waiting for it to dry because I want to see how light it is. I'm thinking that I probably want to add some more color. This is a little bit too light for my liking. And as it dries, it will also show up more of those little white spots. And I do decide that it is a little bit on the dry side. If you want to add more color, then do so, but you have to wet the entire petal. Otherwise, you get this kind of funky line where it dries, where it's overlooking the old piece. And so come in with your ink or your paint and just flood the entire area again, and then let it settle out. And if you have completely covered the purple, then you want to be able to add the purple again while the petal is still damp so that it will run. And I'm going to come up and do the top ones again because they're a little on the light side as well. And because they're still a little bit on the damp side, it's nice and easy to move this ink around. Okay, I'm liking the depth of color in that one a little bit more. I'm going to add some purple back into a couple of those spots that got kind of drowned out. And adding a little bit of water to make them run. And like I said, the fun part about this is you just kind of sit and play with it and see what happens. You can never get two the same. I've tried. So there we go, all wet. We gotta let it dry. The next step is to add the purple to all the undersides of all the petals. And I'm kind of doing a dry run with this one, whereas I am not wetting it before I bring in the purple. There's small enough areas that you can kind of load and wet it at the same time. So I'm keeping a very damp brush so that it's pooling the water, which is allowing the purple kind of to blend and move around and give that kind of watercolor look. And again, you want to be very careful with this that you don't have big blobs of water still on the blue part of the petal, because if you accidentally touch your embossed ridge, the purple is going to run right into your blue, and you'll be fixing both of those. Or you can leave it. Sometimes it turns out really cool and you just want to leave it. Okay, so I'm trying to decide where I'm painting next and doing this one. And again, letting the first part dry to see if it's dark enough or too dark. I do have one spot, that spot that I just painted, that ends up too dark at the end. And I didn't notice it until it was completely dry, but there you go. Okay, on to some leaves. We're going to do the same thing, wet on wet. So I am wetting down the leaf first, adding some more water to my paint. And I'm starting with a darker green because it's up close to the petals, and then I'm adding some light green out near the edges where I think that maybe the sun might be shining on it, so it's a lighter color. And because they're wet, they're bleeding together and doing a real cool thing. You can also flood the whole thing with the light color like I just did, and then add a little bit of the green up near, closer to the petals where they might be in the shadow. So either way works. And you're just going to work your way around and do all the leaves like this. So while you're working on the leaves, your petals are also drying out, and this is going to give you the opportunity to go back and check for any little white spots to fill in. I got a couple of white spots there that were a little bit too close to the purple. I want to put some blue back in there, so I wanted to wait until the purple dried so I could add the blue back in. And I'm just looking at my leaves, trying to get rid of any white spots I have in them, and if I need to, as they're drying, add a little bit more color. Mostly I'm filling in white spots. And now I'm just popping back in, adding that last little bit of blue to those two petals. I'm thinking this is turning out pretty cool, liking it a lot. Next, I'm going to add some ink smooshing to my background, and I'm going to use the same paint that we've been working with. I am working on a glass mat, so I'm just adding some of the light green to my glass mat. I'm going to take my spritzer and add some water to it, mix it up really well so that it's really nice and runny. And I make a mistake here. I should have wet my paper first, and you're going to see why. It doesn't move because it's going wet onto dry. And it's like, oh, what am I doing? This isn't running like I want it to. Okay, so then I mess it up with my paintbrush, which doesn't make it any better. So here's some water. What I should have done is spritz the paper first, but now I'm working on repairs. Okay, so you want to let this dry in between doing layers of color. So bring your heat tool in and let the background dry. You can see that I've got some white spots really up close to where my flowers and my leaves are, and that's not cool. I'm going to try and bring it in a little bit closer. And I'm going to use my paintbrush, and I'm using just water at this point. I'm just wetting it so that I can move some of this stuff in there, so that it's not so stark white. Okay, and it's very messy, but it gives a really nice kind of abstract background. Okay, so I'm going to go down near the bottom and see if I can start doing some repairs to that. Moving some of the mess out of the way here. Getting my acrylic clean. And again, trying to get rid of some of the white that is really up close to my flowers and leaves, because you don't want that. If anything, you want a shadow of a darker color behind it. So I'm really wetting this down, and I'm going to add some blue. So again, pulling some ink out, watering it down, and going back over now that the spots are wet. See how nicely it runs? It doesn't leave great big blobs all over the place, which is what I should have done in the first place. Wasn't thinking. Anyway, the nice blue-green combination adds a very nice background to this. And again, I'm drying it. Which just makes it so much more interesting. And if you have big puddles, there's one big puddle at the bottom. You can pick that up with your paper towel. Just wick it up. Okay. I want a little bit more green. I've got nothing but blue down the bottom, so I'm going to add a little bit of green back in after I wet it again. I don't know where my brain was when I was doing this video. But hey, we all make mistakes. Okay, so just lightening up a little bit with the green and then coming in and drying it out again. So I have a second one that I've been working off camera with, and I just thought I'd bring this one in and show you. I'm going to do the wet version on this one now that I figured out that I need to wet the paper first. And I'm not going to put as much ink on this one because I want to show you the difference in the variations in the backgrounds. So I have a little bit of blue and I am just drying it. And then I'm going to just add a tiny little bit of green, watering that down. You see, I also spritzed my paper this time. She finally learned. And I'm just going to put a few drops of the green in the background, and then I'm going to dry it. And then we're moving on to splatter, because everything's better with splatter. So for splatting for these, I am using the blue and a little bit of the green, some white and some black to splatter. And you have to make sure that your background is good and dry before you start this. Otherwise, as soon as your splatter hits the water, it's going to spread out just like your flowers did. And that's not what we want in the background. I want a nice solid dot splatter. So I am going to mix up some black and then add some water to it. Practice on my paper towel. Partially cover my flowers because I don't want a lot of black splatter on my flowers. And if you hold your paintbrush kind of really close, you can pretty well direct where you want your splatter to go. The blue I'm not worrying about too much because we've got lots of blue on the page. Here's my first one. And I'm using this little paint guy to add some white paint to it. I did 2 videos back to back in the last couple of days, and as I was doing the blog post for the other one, I realized that this particular paint is no longer available at Simon Says Stamps. So I'm going to link to a different one in my product list for you, one that is available, because I can't find this one anywhere. So I don't know what happened to it. Anyway. It's a great way to add white dots, but it's just as easy to mix up some white acrylic paint and use a paintbrush as well. So there we go. We got a nice selection of white, and this time I did let the dots go onto the flowers for some added interest. Okay, we need a couple of sentiments, so I have a piece of black cardstock in my MISTI. I'm going to grab a couple of the sentiments, and I am going to white heat emboss them onto the black for a nice contrast on my cards. And I'm lining them kind of both up in the same spot. Nice and easy to do that. Using my little bunny to get rid of any stickies. Using Versamark ink, which is what allows the embossing powder to stick to the paper until you can heat set it. And just dumping a bunch of white embossing powder on there, and you can flick any extras off with a little dry paintbrush, and then just heat set these guys. Next, I want to use a dry cloth and wipe off any of that anti-static dust from my tool. And then I am going to grab my little trimmer and I'm going to trim these guys up. I'm going to add some Terrific tape to the back of my art pieces, and we're going to add them to the front of an A2 sized top folding white card base. And I like to put 2 sides on at once, and then I go across the top and the bottom. That way, if they overlap, I don't have to worry about trying to get the protective cover off with another piece of tape over top of it. I've run into that enough times that I just finally quit doing it. Then I place my card base into my score buddy and use that top left-hand corner to add my card front, and it fits perfectly. Okay, next we are ready to add our sentiments. As you can see, I've got a couple of foam squares on the back of each one, and I'm just going to line them up in the bottom right-hand corner. I like to not put my sentiments over top of my artwork wherever possible, but sometimes if you have a long skinny one, you don't have any choice, so you have to pick and choose where you're putting them. There we go. Okay, so my final is I'm going to add a couple of gems. These are Spellbinders Spectrum AB Color Essential Gems. I like them because they're clear, but they have an iridized finish on them, so they kind of rainbow. They go with pretty much anything. So if you are trying not to spend a whole bunch of money and you want one embellishment that will kind of go with everything, these are your little guys. You're going to love them. They're so sparkly. There you go. There's my card share today for the Altenew Rose Reverie collab from Simon Says Stamps. You want to hop over there and grab this before they are sold out. And everything I've used today is listed below this video. There is also a link over to my blog where you can get a detailed description. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. And until next time, toodles!